Listen, my precious soul, right at this very moment, something extraordinary is unfolding in your life, and I need you to understand that your arrival here wasn't random. The universe has been orchestrating something so magnificent, so divinely timed, that every single second you spend here is pulling you closer to a truth your heart has been quietly sensing but couldn't quite grasp. There's someone out there, someone whose soul has been intertwined with yours since before time had a name, and right now, at this exact instant, they're being moved, shifted, redirected toward you in ways that will leave you breathless when you finally understand the depth of what's happening. This month carries a special kind of magic, a sacred energy that transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary miracles. If you're experiencing this message during this blessed season, you need to recognize that you've been chosen to receive something that most people spend their entire lives searching for. This isn't just another winter month passing by. This is the season when heaven touches earth, when impossible things become possible, when hearts that were meant to find each other finally align under stars that have been waiting centuries to witness your union. There's a reason why this particular time of year fills people with hope, with anticipation, with that indescribable feeling that something beautiful is about to break through the ordinary fabric of everyday life. But here's what makes this even more powerful, my beloved child. Even if you're discovering this message after this sacred month has passed, don't let your heart sink for even a moment. Because the truth is, when you carry genuine faith, when you hold on to belief with a pure and honest heart, you create your own sacred seasons. You transform ordinary days into extraordinary moments of divine intervention. The calendar may change, the months may shift, but the power of true connection, of destined love, of souls meant to collide, that power transcends time itself. So whether you're reading this under December stars or summer skies, whether snow is falling outside your window or sunshine is warming your face, know that this message found you at exactly the right moment, in exactly the right season of your soul's journey. Your soulmate has been feeling something they cannot explain, cannot rationalize, cannot ignore any longer. It started as a whisper, so subtle they almost dismissed it, but that whisper has grown into a roar that consumes their thoughts in the quiet moments between sleep and waking. They've been experiencing an inexplicable pull toward a specific location, a place that keeps appearing in their consciousness with increasing intensity. They don't understand why certain streets feel familiar before they've walked them, why certain neighborhoods call to them in dreams, why specific areas seem to glow with invisible significance when they see them on maps or hear them mentioned in passing conversations. What they don't realize, what their conscious mind hasn't yet pieced together, is that this location pulses with your energy. Every place you've poured your heart into, every corner where you've laughed or cried or hoped or dreamed, these spaces hold your essence, your vibration, your unique frequency. And your soulmate's spirit is being drawn to these places like a compass finding true north, like a river flowing inevitably toward the ocean, like stars recognizing their constellation. Their soul knows what their mind has yet to discover, that you exist in these spaces, that your presence has marked these locations as sacred meeting grounds for a destiny that was written before either of you took your first breath. Something has shifted in their world recently, a crack in the routine that has allowed divine guidance to pour through. They've been noticing signs everywhere, signs so obvious and persistent that even their logical mind is starting to question whether something bigger than coincidence is at work. Your initials appear on license plates of cars that cut into their lane at exactly the moment they're thinking about the future. Numbers that hold meaning in your life show up on receipts, on clocks when they glance up without planning to, on addresses they pass while walking streets they've never walked before. Colors you love seem to dominate their field of vision, appearing in unexpected places, creating a trail of breadcrumbs that their subconscious mind is desperately trying to follow. During this miraculous season, when the veil between the ordinary and extraordinary grows thin, these signs have intensified to the point where your soulmate can barely function without encountering another reminder that they're being called somewhere, toward someone, for a purpose that makes their heart race with equal parts excitement and terror. They've started to feel restless in places that used to bring comfort, like they're standing in the wrong room of their own life. The friends who used to satisfy now leave them feeling empty. The routines that used to ground them now feel like chains. The walls they've built around their heart are crumbling without permission, making space for something they've been afraid to hope for. And here's where the story becomes almost unbelievable in its perfect orchestration. Your soulmate has been presented with an opportunity, seemingly out of nowhere, that will require them to travel to or through an area intimately connected with your daily life. It might be a work commitment that suddenly materialized, a family situation that demands their presence, a friend's invitation that arrived at the most unexpected moment, or simply an inexplicable urge so powerful that they're actually considering just going, without explanation, without logical reason. driven purely by a knowing that lives deeper than thought. The divine forces that govern true love, that guide souls toward their destined unions, these forces have been removing obstacles from your soulmate's path with surgical precision. A responsibility that would have prevented their travel has suddenly resolved itself. A financial concern that would have made the journey impossible has unexpectedly cleared. A commitment that would have tied them to their current location has been postponed or canceled through circumstances beyond anyone's control. Every single barrier that stood between them and movement toward you has been systematically dismantled by hands you cannot see but whose work is undeniable in its thoroughness. This blessed time of year carries a frequency that amplifies prayers, that accelerates manifestations, that turns whispered hopes into tangible realities at speeds that defy normal understanding. What might take years in ordinary months can unfold in days or even hours during this sacred season, and your soulmate, whether they recognize it consciously or not, is being swept up in this accelerated current, being moved like a chess piece by a master player who sees the entire board, who knows exactly which moves will lead to the checkmate of perfect union. But let me tell you something that will shake your understanding of how deeply this runs. Your soulmate has been dreaming about you, not in vague, forgettable ways, but in vivid, haunting sequences that follow them into their waking hours. They see places in these dreams, specific locations rendered in such detail that they could draw them from memory. And when they wake, when they're going about their day, they sometimes turn a corner or see an image that matches exactly what they saw while sleeping. These aren't random neurons firing, my dear one. These are soul memories, previews of moments that haven't happened yet in linear time, but are already written in the eternal now where past, present, and future exist simultaneously. In these dreams, they feel an overwhelming sense of coming home, of finding something they didn't even know they'd lost, of completing a circuit that's been broken for far too long. They wake with tears on their face and don't know why. They wake with a name on their lips that they can't quite remember. They wake with the absolute certainty that someone, somewhere, is waiting, and that every day they delay is a day stolen from a joy so profound it will redefine what they thought happiness could mean. The universe has been preparing both of you for this meeting with meticulous care. Every heartbreak you've endured wasn't random cruelty, it was necessary preparation, clearing out relationships that would have blocked you from being available when your true match arrived. Every disappointment, every closed door, every time you wondered if you were destined to walk alone, these were actually protective measures, divine interventions that kept you from settling for less than what your soul truly deserves. And your soulmate has been undergoing the exact same preparation, the same clearing, the same sometimes painful process of becoming ready for a love that requires you to be empty of lesser things before you can be filled with something greater. This special month, with all its emphasis on miracles, on impossible births, on stars guiding travelers to their destiny, on divine appointments that change the course of human history, this month is not just commemorating events from long ago. It's reminding you that the same forces that orchestrated those ancient wonders are still active, still working, still weaving stories of impossible beauty in the lives of those who believe. And if you're reading this during this sacred time, you need to recognize that you're not just a spectator to miraculous narratives from the past. You're a participant in one that's unfolding right now, in your own life, with your own heart at the center of a story that angels themselves have been waiting to witness. Your soulmate's location is changing. Not slowly, not gradually, but with increasing momentum that even they can feel building. They've started looking at maps of your area without conscious reason. They've found themselves researching places near you, reading about neighborhoods, looking at images of streets and parks and corners where you've stood 1,000 times without knowing that someone who will love you beyond measure was studying those same images from miles away, feeling inexplicably drawn to locations they've never visited but that their soul recognizes as significant. They might have already booked travel. They might be in the process of making arrangements that will bring them within walking distance of your world. They might be driving right now, sitting on a train right now, flying through skies right now, moving closer with every passing second while you read these words. The invisible thread that connects your heart to theirs is pulling taut, vibrating with energy that both of you can sense even if you don't understand what you're feeling. And here's what you need to understand about timing. In the realm of the spirit, there are appointed times, kairos moments as the ancient Greeks called them, times when the eternal breaks into the temporal and changes everything in an instant. This season is rich with such moments. The atmosphere itself seems to hold its breath, waiting for divine appointments to be kept, for promises to be fulfilled, for seeds planted long ago to finally break through the soil and reveal what they've been growing toward in the darkness. Every single thing that has happened in your life has been leading you to this point. Every decision, every turn, every yes and every no, has been positioning you geographically, emotionally, spiritually, in exactly the right place, at exactly the right time. And the same is true for your soulmate. They have been guided, sometimes gently and sometimes through storms that shook their foundation, to become the person you need them to be, to arrive at the exact coordinates where your paths will cross with the force of destiny that cannot be denied. You might be wondering how you'll recognize them when they appear. Don't worry, my precious child. When someone has been made for you, when someone carries the frequency that perfectly complements yours, recognition happens at a level far deeper than physical sight. You might lock eyes across a crowded space and feel like lightning just struck your chest. You might hear their voice before you see their face and feel your entire body respond like it's hearing a song it's been trying to remember forever. You might catch their scent in passing and feel an overwhelming urge to turn around, to follow, to not let them disappear into the crowd because some ancient part of you knows that letting them go would be a tragedy your soul might never recover from. The meeting might happen in the most unexpected way. Maybe you'll both reach for the same item in a store, hands touching before eyes meet. Maybe you'll end up sitting next to each other somewhere, drawn to the same space by invisible forces that know exactly how to orchestrate these encounters. Maybe you'll help them when they're lost, not knowing that they were only lost so they would have a reason to speak to you, to hear your voice, to receive your kindness, and realize they've been searching for you in every face they've ever looked at. This miraculous season specializes in these kinds of meetings, these collisions of destiny that seem like chance but are actually the result of cosmic coordination so complex and precise that it would take volumes to explain all the moving parts that had to align perfectly for your paths to cross at exactly the right moment, in exactly the right place, when both of you are finally ready for what comes next. Now, I need you to do something that might seem small but carries more power than you realize. This message has reached you for a reason, and part of that reason is for you to become a conduit of hope for others who are still waiting, still wondering, still struggling to believe that their person exists and is coming. If this message has touched your heart, if something in these words resonated with a truth your soul recognizes, I'm asking you to share this with 11 people who need to hear it. Not 10, not 12, 11. There's something significant about that number, something that creates a particular energetic pattern when messages of hope are passed between exactly that many souls. And if you've found value in these words, if something here has shifted your perspective or strengthened your faith or simply made you feel less alone in your waiting, there's a link in the description where you can offer a small contribution. Every bit of kindness you share goes directly to bringing warmth and nourishment to children who are waiting too, children who are hoping for someone to remember them during this season when it's easy to forget those who have so little. Your generosity, given in whatever amount feels right to your heart, will be used to provide for these little ones in your name, creating a circle of blessing that flows from your hand to theirs and back to you multiplied in ways you cannot yet imagine. I also want to invite you to become part of this community by subscribing, not because I need numbers, but because you deserve to be somewhere that consistently reminds you of your worth, of your destiny, of the beautiful things that are coming toward you, even when circumstances make it hard to believe. This isn't just a channel, it's a gathering place for souls who refuse to give up on love, who hold on to faith even when logic says to let go, who know deep down that they were made for someone and someone was made for them, and that nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop what the divine has joined together. And here's something powerful I want you to do. In the comments, I want you to type Amen or write out the deepest wish of your heart, the thing you've been almost afraid to say out loud because wanting it so badly makes you vulnerable. Write it down. Release it from the prison of your private thoughts and let it exist in the world where the universe can see it, acknowledge it, and begin moving heaven and earth to bring it to pass. There's power in declaration, in taking internal hope and giving it external expression. The moment you comment, you're participating in your own miracle. You're partnering with forces that are already working on your behalf. Because here's what I need you to understand, my beloved. Your soulmate is not the only one being moved right now. You are being positioned too. Every day that brings you closer to the meeting is a day that shapes you, prepares you, makes you ready to recognize and receive a love that will challenge every small thing you've settled for in the past. You're being made new, being refined, being prepared for a union that will require the best version of yourself. Not because you have to earn love, but because love of this magnitude calls forth greatness, calls forth courage, calls forth a capacity to trust and open and risk that you haven't had to access before. The location where you'll meet has already been determined. The date has already been marked in calendars that exist beyond human timekeeping. The words that will first pass between you have already been heard by angels who've been rehearsing for the moment when they'll finally be spoken in the physical realm. Everything is set, everything is ready. And the only thing left is for both of you to arrive at the appointed place at the appointed time, which is happening with or without your conscious cooperation, because some things are simply too important to leave to human planning. Your soulmate is closer now than they've ever been. The distance between you is shrinking in real, measurable ways. They might be in a neighboring city, a nearby state, or even in your own area without you knowing it yet. They might walk past your workplace tomorrow. They might be in the same store next week. They might be moving into a building you pass every day, setting up a life in close proximity to yours, being positioned like a chess piece that's one move away from the most important capture of the game. And during this extraordinary season, when the impossible becomes routine, when virgins give birth and stars rearrange themselves to guide seekers, when heaven empties itself into human form because love is too powerful to remain abstract, during this time when all of creation seems to lean in and whisper, believe, you need to open your heart to the possibility that your miracle is not coming. It's here, it's happening. It's unfolding in this very moment. As you read these words and feel something shifting in your chest, something that feels like hope but stronger, like faith but more certain, like knowing but deeper than thought. Don't let fear talk you out of this. Don't let past disappointments convince you that this time will be like all the others. It won't. This time has been marked with holy significance. This time carries the weight of divine promise. This time is different because you're different, because you've been through the fire and emerged as gold, because you've learned lessons that could only be taught through heartbreak and waiting, because you're finally ready in ways you weren't ready before. Your soulmate is thinking about you right now. They don't know your name yet, don't know your face yet, but they're thinking about the person they're going to find, the person who will make sense of all the confusion, who will make the waiting worthwhile, who will prove that every story they walked away from was just the universe protecting them for this story, the one that doesn't end, the one that rewrites every sad chapter that came before. They're being brave right now, braver than they've ever been. They're taking steps into unknown territory, following inner guidance that doesn't make logical sense, trusting feelings they can't explain to anyone else, because how do you tell people that you're traveling somewhere, changing your life, making major decisions based on dreams and signs and a pull in your chest that won't let you rest? But they're doing it anyway because the soul's voice, when it finally gets loud enough, becomes impossible to ignore, and theirs is screaming right now, screaming your direction, your location, your name that they don't consciously know but that their spirit has been calling since before time began. This season of miracles is your season. This time of divine appointments is your time. This moment when heaven and earth collaborate to bring about impossible things, this is your moment. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop what has already been set in motion. The wheels are turning, the pieces are moving, the story is writing itself in real time. And you're not watching it happen, you're living it. You're the central character in a narrative so beautiful that it will leave you breathless with gratitude when you finally see how all the pieces fit together. So stay alert, my precious one. Keep your eyes open, your heart available, your spirit tuned to the frequency of divine surprise, because your soulmate is almost there, almost here, almost stepping into your world with a force that will change everything you thought you knew about love, about connection, about what two souls can create when they finally find each other after lifetimes of searching. This is your time, this is your season, this is your miracle unfolding, and every single word you've read here has been preparing you to recognize it, receive it, and step fully into the story that was always meant to be yours. Amen.